welcome back to Nursing the Garden. Today my name is Avalon. I garden in my backyard. I am in Queens, New York, zone 7B. Today I'm going to be filling up that bed and also planting in my tomatoes. Finally, my peppers, finally, all of the things I've been sitting in my seed trays all this time, I'm finally going to be able to plant them out. It's been the longest. Life has really gotten in the way. Today it's already a little bit hot. As you can see, the sun is out, and I was really trying to get out and get this done like earlier this morning, but again, life gets in the way. So what I decided to do, and I think if you saw one of my older videos, is that I'm going to fill the bottom part of my bed with leaves, which I did with another bed I'll show you, because I was trying to figure out how can I fill the bottom of the beds enough so that I can have a good level to then not have to buy so many bags of soil, as you see here. I'm going to take you guys along to fill this bed, and then we're going to start planting in our tomatoes and peppers and eggplants and flowers, basil. I am super excited because it's just been way too long. So at the bottom of this bed already, I have cardboard that I placed since the winter time, and then I put down about 2 bags of compost at the bottom just to help break down the cardboard, and it's really been broken down so far. I think I did a good job just trying to keep it watered, and it rained over the weekend. Well, Friday and Saturday. Today's Sunday. It's actually Memorial Day weekend, and it rained a good deal, so I'm going to check out these bags of leaves and make sure they didn't get molded. With my other bag of leaves, I was about to put it in my other bed, and I noticed the bag was actually a little bit molded. So I obviously didn't want to put that in a bed that I'm just starting up. So I'm going to check out these bags of leaves and add it to the bed. Leaves in here, and I also have some like toilet paper rolls, things I've been collecting from my compost pile. I'm gonna now add the soil. It's gonna compact down, but at least it's gonna take up some of that empty space at the bottom, so I don't have to use so much soil. So I'm gonna use 2 bags at the bottom of an all-purpose garden soil, and then I also bought an organic raised bed soil that I'm gonna add on the top. I'm going to also add some organic manure and hummus. I keep forgetting what the bag says. And then I'm also going to add another bag of compost on the top of it to help bring some nutrients to the soil. And I'm actually going to look at my compost pile and see if there's any, like even just like a handful worth of finished compost with some worms, so I could put it in this bed and we can start adding some of that organic material to the bed. square foot method on this bed, and then I ended up tripping over my nails, and I somehow knocked out the nails that I put in. So this is going to be an improvised square foot method, but I think now I'm just going to nail back into the holes, and at this point I think my nails that came out are inside this bed right now, and to be honest, I will find it at some point. Right now I can't be bothered. These nails are not going to stay, the string is not going to stay on this bed, but I have it just for purposes of measuring things out. And the square foot method basically is that you are planting in a square foot, and certain plants, certain vegetables, flowers and such can only be planted to a certain number in each square foot. So I already have like a map made out that I found online of all the vegetables and which vegetables are going where in which bed, for the, just as a rough, more so as a rough estimate of what I'm going to be doing, and just to kind of keep me on track, because it can become a bit overwhelming. Oops, somehow I messed up my square, but I will get some more string. It could get a bit overwhelming planting out all the things that you have, and it's easier to have a little bit of a guide to remind you what you wanted to plant where and how much of it. So tomatoes can only go into 1 square foot, so that's pretty easy, but I also was trying to be mindful of my sun exposure with that factor. So as you can see, I did the square foot here. Possibly not going to do it on the other bed. I just kind of needed something to start off with so I can see it a little bit better, and then I'm going to go ahead and start planting, guys. So it's been too long. My tomatoes are here, my plants are here, my basil, my marigolds. I am just so happy to be able to plant all these things in the ground finally. I'm going to do the square foot method, as you can see, and then I'm also going to try to plant some of these plants a little bit sideways and then face them up, because they are so tall, especially my tomatillo plants, as you can see. So I placed out all of my tomatoes where I would like them to be planted, and now I'm just going to add a bit of garden tone into each hole, since these already have compost in them. So I'm going to first do my tomatillo plant that has been struggling. It has been wanting to be planted for such a long time. So I'm just going to dig as much as I can. As I said, I do have some leaves at the bottom, and I might try to plant this sideways as well, to see if I could get this as deep as I can get it. I don't know how deep I'll be able to. So let's see. Keep digging until I can't dig anymore. All right, I'm starting to see some leaves, which is fine, and they look like they're starting to break down pretty well. I'm just gonna dig up as much as I can. So I'm going to do that method where you just try to plant it sideways. So I'm going to try to figure that out right now and see if I can get the plant to sit a bit sideways so I have more planting space, since the plant has gotten so tall. Note to future self, I am going to be planting, starting my tomato seeds way later than I did this year. I think one of the issues why I couldn't plant things out earlier was that life, and time just wasn't on my side. And I was still trying to figure out how to fill my beds, as well as figuring out what soil to get. I'm gonna put a bit of garden tone in this hole. It's very dusty. I never see anybody complain about how dusty garden tone is, but it's so dusty. So I'm gonna mix it in. Now, finally, my first tomato of the season, the 2022 season, I can plant these out. Finally, I'm gonna take off, I ended up having to stake this tomato because it was starting to, actually, yeah, I think I'm gonna do the sideways method. So now I'm just gonna backfill. And I think I'll be able to get this tomato planted right where I would like it to be. Oh, that's looking great, guys. Wow. My first tomato plant is planted. How exciting. So for now, I'm just gonna put back in the label that I had, which is these wooden labels, which in the future I'm not gonna use because it really does start decomposing in the soil. Anyway, long story short, I have my other labels inside, but I am super excited that I finally got my first tomato in the ground. All right. So now I'm gonna plant in my Roma. And again, I had to stake this one because it was sitting in the cup for way too long. Again, garden tone. I'm gonna try to plant this as deep as I can. I actually started to remove a lot of the, what's it called? The lower leaves a while ago because they were just getting brown. Let's see. Oh yeah, this doesn't need much. All right, so some garden tone. I'm making a mess, as I normally do. And I'm just gonna mix this in. Roots are not looking too bad. It's hanging out. And now I can plant backfill. I would like this actually a little bit deeper. So now I'm just gonna dig a little bit more. All right, that's not looking too bad at all. Not too shabby. Not too shabby, guys. All right, where is my label? I think I lost my label. Somehow I've already lost the label. For some reason, I think I planted it in this hole, but I'm just gonna have to put, oh man. Ooh, a worm. Sorry, Mr. Worm. Didn't mean to shock you. So as I said, I did add some worms from my compost in here. And then also the compost that I added did have some worms. So that's a cherry. Now I'm gonna have to remember that is a cherry. Oh, geez. Okay. We will get through this, guys. Oh, nope, I lied. It's a Roma. It is a Roma. Okay. The next is a purple Cherokee. So those are beefsteaks. Cherokee purple. I'm gonna dig this as far as I can as well. Getting some leaves, but that's okay. These leaves are breaking down very nicely. So, some garden tone. Mix that in really good. Trying to get the leaves out the way. And then I'm gonna plant this in there as well. I think I should be able to get this pretty deep. All right, so I got my tomatoes in the ground. How amazing. They look pretty straight, right? Not the straightest rows. This is my first time ever planting in ground, so this row looks really nice and straight. So what I did, I pretty much planted the same plant next to each other, just so, I don't know, maybe it helps with pollination. I have no idea. It's my first time doing all this. So I got all my peppers planted in. I am super excited to see the growth of everything. I left all the cups next to each plant so that I can come back and label everything. I'm now gonna plant in my squashes, cucumbers, and my okra. So I ended up reusing a cup that I had when I first started my squashes, and they were getting so huge and they were dying. So I decided to just replant. So that's what I did with this. That's why you see so many roots, but the plant is actually still very small. So I'm actually glad to plant them out when they're still somewhat of a baby. Putting some garden tone in every hole and covering it back up. Then I'm gonna trellis everything when I'm done so that I could just watch my plants grow without having to worry about timing for trellising and all that and breaking plants, because I've done that before where I waited too long to trellis and then I ended up breaking my plants. I'm gonna plant in my okra. I'm just gonna take off a bit of this biodegradable pot. I know they say okra doesn't really like, they don't really like their roots disturbed too much, but I'm just taking off most of the pot so it can spread its wings. I'm gonna put it right here. Actually, I'm gonna put it at the end of this bed. I just don't want any difficulty trying to harvest the plant when the fruit starts to come out, because okra could be very prolific, I heard, and I don't want to have to struggle trying to reach through squash and all that. So right here, I'm not sure what I'm gonna put. I might put like a celery plant or something I don't have to harvest very often in this area. I know squash needs a lot of space, but I'm doing this at the edge of my bed so that they can also, I'm most likely going to trellis everything up, including my squash. Cucumber, I'm definitely trellising upwards. So let me move that over a bit. Yeah, so their roots have space to spread out. All right, that's looking good. So I think I'm going to do cucumber in this spot right here, and I'm even considering planting one more right here. That's another okra plant. I think that's what I'm gonna go do. I'm gonna go get some seeds. Alrighty, so I have one more bed that I want to plant stuff in, so I brought out some of my beans as well, and I'm just gonna plant in my okra right now. They say that you should be soaking your seeds, I believe this one says to soak the seeds, but I'll be watering these in really good and every day thereafter. So that particular okra plant would be a little bit behind. the initial okra plant, but that's fine. I'm gonna put just one because these seeds are new. Just gonna put it right there. Hopefully a bird or something doesn't come. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna put two, just in case there's a bird that's been hanging around this area. And I'm just here like, okay, bird, don't mess with my stuff. Okay, so this is my other bed here. I ended up planting a lot of chamomile in this bed. I just kind of went nuts, but for some reason this chamomile right here is flourishing, and then this chamomile here in this area isn't doing a thing. So what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna just dig up all of this chamomile here, and I'm just going to place it in a bag because I don't really need all this chamomile. I actually planted it so tight that's probably not going to grow very well. And I also want to plant some kale. I do have a problem with the moth that lays those eggs on the brassicas. So I'm actually pulling all my brassicas out, and I'm going to actually use those containers for I'm going to put my onions. I have some onion starts that I want to place in there, in those containers. So I'm a little bit nervous to plant my kale. Last year I didn't have any issues with any moths or anything like that, caterpillars, anything. But what I'm thinking this year is that I will, just to be precautionary, I would plant this kale that I have right here. I actually need to separate it out because I planted it way too tight, and hopefully they survive. I want to plant this kale right next to my onions because they say onions help to prevent the cabbage moth. The smell actually deters them from coming to the plant. So hopefully that is the case. So I just planted one there, and I might plant another. Actually, I might scrap this one because I'm not sure what I'm going to do actually. So we'll hold on to this. We'll see what happens. So I want to plant some beans in this area. I'm just finishing kind of clearing this part out here, taking up as much as I need as I can. I mean, even if the chamomile kind of show back up, that's perfectly fine. I do like chamomile. I love chamomile tea. I'm just trying to get most of the roots up and out. I'm sure I'm not doing the best job right now, but at least I am getting most. So what I'm going to do is just add some more compost to this area. One more handful. Just pull out any weeds that I see. All right, so I'm going to put some beans in that area, and then I'm going to trellis. And I think I'm going to do the top crop bean from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to put 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to stake trellis that area. And actually guys, now I'm gonna actually put the other kale right here, and I think that's a great idea. So I put the 2 kale plants there, cleaned up this area, and put beans, and I think that'll be enough. I don't really eat a lot of beans. I just want to see what it's like to grow them. And then I might actually put some beans in this area. I'm not sure. I still have to plant out my eggplant. I'm going to put some more flowers. This is parsley here. Hopefully it catches on. And yeah, I'm just excited to try to get everything out. So I am all done with planting out my tomatoes and my peppers, eggplants. I am super excited. I'm so happy you guys are with me to experience my first raised bed garden. So I did plant the serrano in here, and I plan on doing a garden tour very soon. I actually just need to come out and label everything, trellis everything, and I think you guys will see that in the next video, which will be the tour. So I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.